Hello and welcome back to Adventurous Way. I'm Matt and behind the camera is Diana and we're here today at Thompson RV. Thompson RV is an outdoors RV dealership in Pendleton, Oregon. And today we're going to be learning about all the different models of outdoors RV trailers, the different series, the different classes and the different trim levels. I'm here with Corrin. Corrin, it's been great to meet you today.
You too.
Tell us a little bit about what Thompson RV does and what you sell here.
Okay. So we're a family-owned and operated dealership. It's my mom, my brother, and I. My dad is retired, but we've been in business since 1953.
Wow.
And we've been in Pendleton that whole time. We mainly sell the outdoors RV and Northwood products out of Grande. We are the closest outdoors RV dealership to the factory, so that is kind of special. People will fly out and do factory tours, or they'll drive out and do factory tours, and then they come and they view all of the outdoors RV products here on our lot.
And that's exactly what we did a couple of years ago, in fact, when we did the outdoors RV factory tour during our research. So today we're going to learn about some of the different outdoors RV models.
Yes.
Now, from the factory tour, we were introduced to terms like Mountain Series and Titanium and Glacier Peak and all these things. And I'll be honest with you, it's super confusing.
Right.
So I'm hoping you can shed a bit of light on that for us and help us understand what all these things mean.
Okay. Yeah, so that's one of the questions we get all the time. I think that sometimes it's a little hard when you're just doing your research online. A lot of people live where there aren't an outdoors RV dealership close. So they might be at the East Coast or somewhere and they can't do the research on a dealer's lot and see the differences. So we get a lot of questions on what are the differences between a Creekside and a Blackstone and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So the easiest way to think about it is most people that have been shopping for a trailer have also been out truck shopping. So when you're truck shopping, you have the option of a 1/2 ton, a 3/4 ton, and a 1 ton. Okay, then once you pick which truck you want, then you pick your trim level.
Gotcha.
So let's say you're shopping for a Ford, you're gonna pick maybe a Lariat or a King Ranch edition. So if you try and think of it in that simple of a term, you've got your Creekside, which is going to be your smaller, lighter weight.
1/2 ton truck total.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And some of the timber ridges are too. Once you bump up into the timber ridge, but you're going to get a slide out. They're going to be a little bit heavier,
Gotcha.
a little bit bigger frame, a little bit bigger chassis, that kind of thing. And we can get into some more of those.
And these trailers are, I mean, they're really well built, but they're not light, are they? These are not super light trailers.
No. If you want to stay light, you pretty much have to go smaller.
Yep.
Yeah, because they're the point of this brand, the Outdoors RV, is to be stout. They're for off-road rugged use. They're for cold weather camping, hot weather camping. So it's very important that they're well built, and quality doesn't come in a lightweight package. No. So basically, when you're out shopping, if you're looking for a trailer and you're settled on the Outdoors RV brand, then you've got the Creekside, which again is going to be your smaller, lighter weight. Your Timber Ridge is the next. It's going to be one single slide out, a little bit bigger floor plans, and then the Blackstone. Blackstone's going to be the heaviest, the longest, and 2 or more slide outs. Glacier Peak is going to be their 5th wheel line. So once you choose and you determine what size you want, then you pick your trim level, Mountain or Titanium. And of course, we can go into the differences on the Mountain versus the Titanium.
And we're talking about a 10,000 pound GVWR typically on those?
Well,
around that?
We don't typically go by the GVWR because that's what the axles are rated for.
Gotcha.
And Outdoors RV uses really heavy duty axles. So that is just your carrying capacity. What you really want to look at is the dry weight. And Outdoors RV is really good to post accurate dry weights. A lot of companies post lower dry weights with no options. That's why they call it their full featured dry weight. So if you look at a brochure, you look online, it'll tell you the full featured dry weight. So dry weights on your Creeksides are going to be more like in the 5,000, 6,000 pound range.
Which I think that's what ours was.
Correct. And then your Timber Ridge is going to be under 7,750, 6,000 to 7,750. Blackstone is going to be 7,000 and above on your dry weight. Then of course you have to add for water and belongings.
And then we had the 1 ton is roughly speaking the Blackstone models.
Well, and here's the thing. So there are some Timber Ridge models that can be towed with a heavy 1/2 ton pickup.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of these new F-150 EcoBoosts and things like that, the Dodge Hemis, that are towing 10,000 pounds. You still want to be able to stop, right? So we don't recommend going that heavy, but there are a few 24-foot Timber Ridge models that you can tow with 1/2 tons. Yes. So we do have to go through and kind of see what truck you have and what trailer might fit it. But generally speaking, the Timber Ridge is going to be your midsize, and then Blackstone. A lot of diesels, it doesn't matter if it's really a 3/4 or a 1 ton. The Blackstone, but you're going to be up into your bigger diesel pickups, not an F-150.
And then you mentioned that you guys would have to look at the truck that someone's got. Do you help them through that process?
We do. So now, granted, there are different rear axle differentials and rear axle ratios and things like that. There's different things that you have to look at. So we do recommend that you either call your dealer or check your manual, or on the side of your truck, I think it sometimes says what your tow capacity is. But we do help you through the process as far as what kind of camping you want to do, how small you want to go to get in, like how off-road are you going to be? Are you going to be in parks? So that, you know, you don't want to get too long.
Some people are more off-road than others.
Exactly, yes.
We definitely fall into that camp. And yeah, we've loved this trailer for that very reason. It's really taken us to some amazing places.
Right.
So you mentioned about sort of helping people through that journey. And I know that's something that you guys here are really well known for. I know from the owners groups, very, very highly respected here. In fact, a friend of ours drove all the way from Arkansas just to pick up their trailer all the way up here in northeastern Oregon. Tell us a bit more about why do people do that? Why do they drive so far to buy these trailers?
Well, I think a part of it is obviously that we're family owned and operated. And when people are out shopping for a trailer and they're shopping from 2,500 miles away, it's very important that you have a trusting relationship with the dealer that you're dealing with. So you don't want to necessarily get the salesman that's been there for 2 weeks. And you don't necessarily want to get such a big dealership that they don't even know who you are, what you're shopping for, that kind of thing. So we get a lot of recommendations from the forums, from the Facebook group, because people that have come up here and met us, they know that we're trustworthy. So that's a big part of it. So the person you're speaking of from Arkansas, when they first started out, they were looking at an entirely different trailer. I believe they didn't even have a truck. And so we helped them figure out exactly what they were going to be doing, how big of a truck they wanted to go with, how big of a trailer they wanted to go to fit that. And actually, I think they even went a size smaller because they decided they wanted to be more off-grid boondocking. So,
and we've actually had the privilege of boondocking with them just a couple of weeks after they got the trailer, and they are absolutely smitten with it. So what I'd love to do is I'd love to take a look at some of these different models. I know we've heard about these different things. We've heard about the Creekside, the Timber Ridge, and the Blackstone. We've heard about the Glacier Peak fifth wheels. But I'm still pretty confused by this like Mountain Series and the Titanium Series, and I'm still not sure where the Backcountry Series comes in. So maybe we can go and take a look at some trailers and start seeing what we can find.
Sounds good.
We're standing now outside one of the Backcountry Series models, which I believe is one of the most recent models that Outdoors RV has introduced.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Backcountry Series and why that might be a good model choice for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the most specific things about the Backcountry Series is going to be the built-in generator. So other than the Mountain TRX Trail Series, which is more like a toy hauler version, this is a travel trailer that has a built-in Onan generator. So for definite off-grid camping, they also, all of the Outdoors RV are solar ready, but this model comes with solar, the 170 watt solar already mounted onto the roof. Correct.
Perfect. And then the generator here is, does that run off propane or gas? Or?
Yes, it's a propane generator.
Propane generator. And that's connected into the same tanks as on the front of the...
Exactly. So it's already plumbed in. You just push a button inside. Boom, you have 110 power. You can run your air conditioner, your microwave. One of the things we really liked about Outdoors RV is, and this is one of the larger models they do in the series, but even on a smaller one like ours, a 21 model, we still had two 30-pound propane tanks. Whereas a lot of RVs that you see our size would be, say, two 20-pounders or even smaller sometimes. Exactly.
So two 30-pounders, that's plenty, is it, to run the generator?
Yes, absolutely. And then the other thing, too, is on this particular model, they do the 4-battery tray. So you can do up to 4 batteries on the front tongue of the trailer.
And then what else have they changed on the Backcountry Series that make it more suitable for going off-road or off-grid?
Well, so like all of the Outdoors RV products, they've got the heavy-duty frame, they have the heavy-duty axles, the off-road X4 suspension is something that's standard on this model. But mainly it's going to be the power, the generator and the solar.
And I know you mentioned the X4 there. The X4 package is something we had on ours and we really wanted.
Yes.
I think you were saying earlier that you have always ordered your models with that on there.
We've always ordered. I mean, you would never order a car and not order suspension, right? And you'd be shocked how many trailer brands out there have no suspension on their trailers. Well, anytime you have good suspension, you're going to save wear and tear on the trailer. You're going to get a better tow behind your truck. So yeah, you get the More Ride CRE 3000 suspension, the heavy duty shackles. Now they're using, as of right now, they're using the KYB shocks. It used to be the Monroe off-road shocks, but either way, they're both great. They do have slightly different floor plans in the Backcountry Series, and the trim level on the inside is a little bit different as far as the Mountain and the Backcountry Series. Price point wise though, it's going to be right in between a Mountain and a Titanium because you're paying a little bit of extra money for this built-in onboard generator. But then you don't have to pack a portable generator and you don't have to pack gas and that kind of thing.
But otherwise, though, in terms of their off-road capabilities,
same thing.
it doesn't matter which trailer you buy, you're
Correct.
pretty well going to get the same capabilities off-road.
Yep, exactly.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So this trailer that we're standing in front of here, this is a mountain series.
Yes.
And this looks very familiar to us because this is exactly one of our trailers, basically.
Right.
Tell us more about the mountain series. What does this series include?
So the Mountain Series is technically their entry-level model. From there, you can go up to the Titanium Series, but it's anything but entry-level, right? So off-road X4 suspension, which is something that we stock on all of our units, so you're going to get the best suspension in the industry.
And we have friends, actually, who've replaced the non-heavy duty shackles on their pretty big trailers, some of the, like fifth wheels and things.
Oh yeah.
And they've been surprised to see that even our little 21-foot trailer has pretty beefy shackles.
Yeah, that's the suspension that we used to only see on $80,000 fifth wheels, and now we're seeing it on a 20-foot Outdoors RV Mountain Series. So.
It's fantastic. So that's the suspension. What else are some of the standard features on here?
Well, Outdoors RV, if you've ever done the plant tour or if you've done some research, you know that they build all their own frames. So their chassis are heavy duty. They use heavy duty axles, 2-inch thick sidewalls for extra insulation. Yep. Even the foam that they put in the walls is different than what everybody else uses. So it's a virgin foam, so it's a better quality of foam. Dual pane windows are a standard feature. So I mean, everything that they do is just going to be top notch over the competition. On the Creekside class, you're going to get 15-inch wheels and tires. On the Timber Ridge, it's an option of a 15, but we upgrade everything to 16-inch. Yeah. So pretty much everything we stock is going to have that 16-inch wheel and tire, except the Creekside class.
And the X4 package, I think, is now standard on all models.
Correct. They did make it standard earlier this year.
Talk us through some of the capacities, the propane and the tanks and things on these.
So everything's going to come with the two 7.5-gallon tanks. They have option of 2 batteries, but we can upgrade pretty much anything to 4 batteries very easily. Some people do more batteries or more storage, but 4 is pretty easy to do. Solar panels, they take up to 370 watt ZAMP solar panels on the roof.
And that's with a combiner box that's already on the roof installed.
Correct, it's already ready to go.
So the wiring is running down all the way down to here. So if you are thinking of doing solar, even if the trailer doesn't come with solar, it comes with a combiner box and the wiring.
Correct, it's already ready. Yep, so all we have to do is mount it to the roof, mount the charger, and we're good to go.
Perfect. And they also come with a port on the side as well.
Correct.
What's that for? How's that work?
So that's for like a portable solar that you can set out. And what's nice about that, some people go with maybe 1 or 2 roof mount, and then they'll go with a portable solar on the side as well. I think it's up to 180 watts on the side. Yeah, and then you can move that around in the sun. Let's say you're in the trees, you can move it around to the sun.
You can park in the shade and stay cool. We actually did about 3 months, I think, when we first started with solar, of nothing but a 100-watt portable panel.
Oh, okay.
And that was how we kind of learned what solar we needed.
Right.
It was a really good way for us to get started. It's simple, just plug it in and go.
Right,
That's cool. And then what about the tank capacitors inside? Because that was one of the things that really drew us to Outdoors RV.
Right, so most models have at least 60 gallons of fresh water, which is good. And a lot of the Timber Ridge and Blackstone models are going to have 80 gallons of fresh water, which you just don't see industry standard. And part of the reason being that a lot of these companies, they get their frames from a company, they get shipped up to the trailer manufacturer. Half the time, by the time they get there, they're already rusted because they've been sitting on a flatbed through the elements. And then they're made, we call them cookie cutter frames. So if you have a 26-foot rear kitchen, they haven't changed that to a 26 front kitchen. So the trailers that are coming out of a lot of factories aren't weighted properly. The frame is not built per floor plan. Outdoors RV, they build everything per floor plan.
And that's critical because it means like the tanks are where they need to be for distribution.
Yes. So all the weight distribution is thought about, but because they build their own frames, they're able to make bigger areas for those tanks. So then it's not industry standard. So you don't have to just put a 40-gallon freshwater tank in there.
So what we're talking about then is, and we're using our trailer as an example, it's a mountain series. This is quote unquote Outdoors RV's entry series. That comes with, we've got a 78-gallon fresh tank, 40 grey, 40 black, 2 7.5-gallon, 30-pound propane tanks in the front, off-road suspension, Goodyear endurance tyres, a well-designed frame specific to that floor plan, solar ready, so that you can either mount them on the roof or plug one into the side. What are some of the other things that we can really look to see on these that differentiate them from what you might find in other RVs?
There's a lot of little things. So they do all LED lights, but they also do screw-on lens covers. So when you're off-roading and you're really getting after it, like you guys do on some of those crazy roads, those lens caps can pop off.
Yep.
Right? So these are all screwed
They're screwed on.
Yeah. They do on some of the, not on the creek side necessarily, but on the Timber Ridge and the Blackstone where you've got skirt metal, they use diamond scored skirt metal. So it gives you more ruggedness when you, let's say you hit something or whatever, it's going to give you a little bit more flexibility there. The wheel well, you know, everybody's had an old trailer where their wheel well cover has cracked you know, whatever. They use a heavier duty material that's not going to damage easily. So they've thought of everything on the outside. And then when we move to the inside, there's a lot of upgrades on the interior.
There's some good stuff in there.
Yes. Okay, so now we are in a mountain series. This is actually the shortest model they make. It's the 18 RBS. But we're going to point out just a few of the features that are standard on an outdoors RV product. And again, this is their entry level, even though we all know that it's not considered entry level when you start shopping around for another trailer. So you always get a 12-volt flat screen TV. You get thermal pane windows, night shades. The cabinetry, as you can see in this, is like a shaker style door, solid hardwood. They screw all their cabinets together. A lot of industry standard is going to be stapled cabinetry. Obviously that doesn't fare well when you go down really hard, rugged roads. So they they screw everything together. All of the drawers are going to be Mortise and Tenyon drawers. They use 150-pound ball bearing drawer guides on everything. So it's a lot heavier duty than industry standard. When you come over to the dinette, they use thicker cushions on the dinette. They also give you a much thicker dinette seat in general. So a lot of industry standard is going to be a simple little tiny piece of wood or luan. So this actually shows you how they construct their walls. This is the inside wall piece. This is the foam core insulation, and that is the outside fiberglass. So when they route out the windows, they recycle them, cut them down into these extremely heavy duty dinette seats. So that's something that they do different from a lot of people, and it's really an upgrade. If you've ever sat on a dinette that just wants to bow, you'll know what I'm talking about. They do a lot of woodwork in their units. They also try and go for like a craftsman style look in their trailers. You often get at least one, maybe two skylights. On all of our units, we do like to order the Max Air Deluxe vent fans. So that's the nice big fan with the built-in cover. They're thermostatically controlled. They have 10 different speeds, intake, exhaust. So those are really good when you're off-grid camping, because if it's just a little bit too hot, but you can't run your air conditioner because maybe you don't want to turn on your generator, or you just don't have power, those Max Air fans push a lot of air. Especially on a model like this where you don't have a heck of a lot of counter space. One thing that I love is their solid surface countertops with the built-in sink covers.
We love those.
Yes, because when you're on the road a lot, when I'm cooking or doing dishes or whatever, I will typically leave one side in so that I have a little bit more prep space. I also love the sunken range.
Almost flush, isn't it?
Yes, because then if you're not cooking, then you've got this as added counter space. So that's really nice. There's a few little details as well that we've kind of really appreciated, like the knife rack at the back. So normally you'd have some dead space behind the stove there. They've just put in a little sort of piece of trim that you can use as a knife rack. And the same with the spice rack down here. Exactly. Again, that would be dead space because of the sink. Right. It's got all our herbs and spices in now. Exactly. Yeah, and they do the cold weather kit on the Norcold too. So a lot of our outdoors RV customers would like to get out for extended season. Yeah. We even have people that ski and go up to ski resorts and really cold weather camping. You guys haven't been in super cold weather yet, or you have? We've done down to about sort of 20 Fahrenheit, so cold enough for me. Yes. But nothing in here changed. My brother was down in New Mexico last year, and it got down to -5, and he was in his outdoors RV and did not freeze up. So that's awesome. So one thing that Outdoors RV does differently is their arch ceiling, and it's different than other arch ceilings you might see industry standard. Yeah. Because when they went to their arch ceiling, they actually gained insulation. A lot of them, when they go to add height and they arch the ceiling, they'll take it out of the roof insulation. Correct. When they went to their new truss style, it actually adds insulation all the way down to where the roof meets the sidewall. So no longer are you getting a pinched truss system where there's no insulation at the corner. You're getting full insulation all the way. Wow. And it adds extra height interior. They also use recessed LED lighting, which is nice. Another thing that you don't think about is when you're shopping for a trailer, they never have batteries, they never have the lights on. There are still trailers that you have to turn the lights on and off at the ceiling. So these are obviously all on a wall switch, unless you're talking like in the dinette or sometimes reading lights. There's going to be certain lights in the trailer that you turn on and off at the light.
Sure.
But the majority of them in the ceiling are going to be all on a switch.
So when we were looking for our outdoors RV, we knew that we needed a trailer that we could work in, that we could just have space to have laptops and things like that. And this dinette was the selling point for us on that floor plan. This dinette is huge, and we have friends in big fifth wheels whose tables are smaller than this.
Correct.
Why have they got such a big dinette? What's so good about it?
Well, so for a while in the industry, in the RV industry, for a while was the U-shaped dinette, and that seemed like a really great idea, right? It looked really cool. But what happened was you ended up with a table that was half the size.
Yep.
And when you actually sat adults around the table, there was no leg space.
Yep.
Plus, the table legs, for years, you could just sit here and rock the table. And so every time I would sit down to have a cup of coffee, one of my little toddlers would come in, and there goes my coffee, and I hadn't had any yet, so it was kind of a big deal. So when they went to the Mountain Dinette, it's a much sturdier table. They've gone to a different leg and table-based setup. I mean, it's stout. It's really on there.
It's really sturdy, and what we found is that we've had this for 12 months. It converts down into a bed as well. Right. Very, very easily. Correct. And when Diana's brother stayed with us for a couple of weeks on vacation, we were converting this into a bed each night. And I was really concerned that after he went back and we made it back up into a table again, it would now be wobbling and stuff. And it's not. It is solid. It's
a great setup. But when they went to the Mountain Dinette, what they realized is not only do you get a gigantic table, you can actually seat more people at this booth than you can at those old U-shaped dinette.
So this trailer that we're standing in front of now is one of the Titanium series. And this is a 25 RDS, I believe.
Yes, a Timber Ridge.
A Timber Ridge. And I believe there's something a little bit special about this one.
Yes, this is the 20,000th unit built by Outdoors RV.
That's
so
awesome.
It is special. So the VIN number ends, it's 20,000. Yeah.
That's super cool. Yeah. And just for anyone out there who's wondering like how many units Outdoors RV produces, they are not a big manufacturer.
No, correct. So this has been 10 years.
10 years and they've just done the 20,000.
20,000, yeah.
That is awesome. So tell us a little bit then about on the Titanium series, what do we get? How does this kind of add to what the Mountain series has?
On the Titanium, you're going to get the same quality features that we saw on the Mountain series. So the same Four Seasons package, the same off-road suspension, the same heavy-duty frame. So it's everything that you're going to get in the Mountain series, but then you're also going to get some higher end features.
Gotcha.
So one of the first things, and probably I'll mention some of the more expensive items first. On the exterior, you're going to get the high gloss Lamilux 4000 fiberglass.
Which is super nice.
It is, and it's actually thicker, higher grade of fiberglass. So it's a really nice fiberglass, and it's also gray, so it does look a little bit richer. You also get the frameless windows. So they're dual pane, just like on the Mountain series, but they're the frameless style. Some people really like the way that they pop out because you can run them in the rain.
Yes.
I've had people with dogs that like them because their dogs can't
jump out,
claw out the screens. But so you get the frameless windows, you get the slide out toppers. On the back, you're going to get a backup camera.
Okay.
You're going to get backup lights. And then you're also going to get some chrome accents on the outside of the trailer. That's mainly what you're going to get on the outside. And some of those features the dealer can add, like the slide toppers, the backup camera. But then a few of them, obviously, you can't change the fiberglass and the windows. We actually stock more Titanium trailers than any other dealer. Yeah, and part of it is because, you know, I own a Titanium, my mom owns a Titanium, so we really see the value. But it does depend on how you're camping, like you said.
Totally.
A lot of people really like the power jacks.
Yes, they are really nice.
So you get a remote, they run the power jacks and things like that. And so there are quite a few features that if you get to the point where you've had your dealer add so many of them, that at that point you might as well have just gone to a Titanium. So it does, and that's where we step in, obviously, and help people figure out what they can add, what they want to add, you know, and that kind of thing.
We're now standing inside the Titanium series, and at first glance, a lot of the stuff in here looks a lot like what we saw in the Mountain series. But there's a few differences, right?
Correct. So the Mountain series is a very nicely appointed trailer, but the Titanium, you do get quite a few upgrades. On the inside, one of the first things that people notice is the raised panel cabinetry. So really, when you open and close them, you're going to notice that this is a thick, solid hardwood piece. And so you just get a little bit better feel of a cabinet. You're going to get the high arc faucet. They have gone to a single basin sink now,
Wow.
which gives you a little bit more room as far as where you can put your pots and pans. Plus it has the pull out, which is really nice. So it feels a lot more like home.
Yes.
And when you're living in it, you know,
Exactly.
and you're on the road all the time, that's a big deal.
It really is.
Yeah. So you also get the slow rise shades in the titanium series.
And they're full blackouts as well,
Correct. Full blackout. So people
Nice.
can't see in. And if
Yep.
you're, you know, in Alaska in the summer and it's light until 3 a.m., which
Yeah.
I had some people that were up there, they said those blackout shades were great. So
I bet they were,
yeah, you get the stainless steel appliances in a little bit different stove in the titanium series. You also get the 15K air conditioner.
Okay.
That's one of the things that
Wow.
people don't even think to look at because you can't see it. So you get the little bit bigger
Yeah, because
air.
from here it looks the same as ours.
Exactly. Yep. You also get a digital thermostat.
Okay.
You get different hardwood on the windows, right? So rather than the fabric valances
Yes.
and sometimes leather, this is going to be the hardwood. Another thing that you get in the titanium series is going to be the solid surface countertops. Not only do you get them in the kitchen, you get them anywhere there is counter space.
Rather than the wood or...
The Formica.
Yeah.
Yes, so rather than Formica, you get the solid surface countertops, which is a big deal in the bathroom because
Yes.
then you get the underslung stainless steel sink.
Nice.
Yeah, and then next to the bed, you're going to get the solid surface countertops as well as under cabinet lighting and
Very
then
nice.
reading lights. So if you're one of those people like me, I still read paper books, not a Kindle. And so I enjoy having reading lights versus just one light that, you know, shines down in your eyes.
Yep.
So that's a nice feature. In the bedroom, you also get the really nice upgraded mattress. That's
Okay.
one of the first things it seems like people upgrade in their trailer is their mattress. And that's like $1,000 upgraded mattress. It's really
Wow.
nice. Yeah. So in the titanium bathroom, you're going to get the upgraded mirror, right? So it's got the lighted mirror, and then it has the magnification on one side. You also get the solid surface countertops, which then give you the underslung stainless steel sink, which is nice. In the Mountain series, it's going to be Formica with a plastic sink. You also get upgraded hardware. So the toilet paper holder and the towel holder are a little bit upgraded over the Mountain series. So one nice thing about the titanium is the color scheme is very neutral. You don't have any fabric on the valances and things like that. So if a person does want to change colors, it's as easy as taking out the sofa or the chairs and putting in the opposite color. The dinette in the titanium is always going to be two-tone with the two colors being your color options. So if you want the Iron Ridge, the darker color, then you can just swap out the other furniture to match. Or if you want the rustic stone, you can put in that furniture as well. So it's really easy to make those changes if you prefer one color over the other.
So the other type of trailer that Outdoors RV sells is the fifth wheel trailers. So
Correct.
everything we've seen so far is a travel trailer and Glacier Peak, right?
Yes.
That's their fifth wheels. So tell us a little bit about the Glacier Peak fifth wheel trailers.
Well, so Glacier Peak falls into the category of people that want a high quality trailer built by Outdoors RV, but they would prefer to have a fifth wheel. Maybe they've heard that they tow better, or maybe they just like the way they hook up better.
Yep.
Me personally, I wanted to go a little bit longer, but I didn't really want to have any longer behind my truck. And I didn't mind having something in taking up the space in
front
my
bed.
bed. Yeah. So I went with a Glacier Peak just for the overall length.
Yep.
Yep.
And then you sell quite a lot of these here, right?
We do, yeah. So I've personally owned 5 Glacier Peaks.
5 Glacier Peaks.
Yes. And so we know a lot about them because we use them. So we sell a lot of fifth wheels. We stock more than most other places.
And just to put it in context, I think the fifth wheels, Outdoors RV, we saw earlier, they just sold, or they just made their 20,000th unit total. And I think only about 5% of the trailers they make are fifth wheels.
Correct.
And you've bought 5 of them.
Yeah.
So you are basically stealing all of their
Yes,
supply
exactly.
of fifth wheel trailers. Okay, got
Right,
it.
right.
I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
But joking aside, this is not a kind of a big number of trailers they have. They don't
Correct.
have many of these. So you've
Nope.
kind of got to look pretty carefully to find them.
Absolutely, yeah. So the problem is with their smaller production setup, if you run out, you can't get any more. So we do try and stock up on titanium fifth wheels especially, so that throughout the year, if they're not building them, we still have them in stock.
Gotcha. And that's because they do this sort of batching process on a line.
Correct.
And they'll build a load of one model.
Yes.
And then a load of the next model and so on
Correct.
and so forth.
And because the fifth wheels are only 5%, they're not going to be building them as often as they are something more popular. A lot of people like the taller ceiling height. So if they're going to be in it a long time, maybe they're taking a 2-month trip to Alaska, maybe they're going to full time it, whatever. They like that bigger, spacious feeling.
Feels very residential, doesn't it?
Yes. You also get the big storage area in the front.
Yep.
So there's a lot of storage in a fifth wheel, a little bit more than you're going to get in a trailer.
So what we're looking at here has to be one of the most unique trailers in the Outdoors RV lineup. Tell us a bit more about what we're looking at.
Right, so this is the Mountain Tracks Trail Series. This is Outdoors RV's version of what most people would call a toy hauler. So they're gearing it towards any kind of gear that you want to haul. So whether it's a side-by-side motorcycles, your Harley, or maybe it's your kayaks and your hunting gear. So it's their version of a toy hauler.
But it's not like a lot of toy haulers that we see, because this one isn't a fifth wheel. This is a travel trailer.
Correct. Yeah. So it's they only make travel trailers in the toy hauler version, but they've also gone for more of a lodge-inspired interior, where a lot of toy haulers you're going to see like the black and the racing motif.
You mean we're not going to see like blue LEDs throughout this? And,
exactly.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So it's very tastefully done. It looks like a Mountain Series trailer.
Yep.
But it's the toy hauler version, so you're going to get the fuel station, you're going to get the onboard gas generator.
Gotcha.
Already has the 170-watt solar panel on the roof. So you're going to get a lot of those features. And then you're also going to get, we order all of ours with the big ramp deck.
This is awesome.
It is. So we've sold a lot of these to people that don't even have gear because they want this outside patio.
We have some friends with some of these, and whenever we see them set it up, super jealous. These things are awesome.
It is, yeah. And they've gone one step above. So many toy haulers just have like a little screen in the back.
Yep.
This one actually has what I would consider almost like a French door. So they have real glass doors, and you can open and close the glass.
So you can leave the deck down all the time.
Correct.
And just close those doors at night or whatever.
Uh-huh.
That is awesome. And it's a lot taller as well, I've noticed, than the other travel trailers they do.
Correct. So because you have the big ramp door, the height is going to be bigger in the rear end of a toy hauler version than you are with a regular travel trailer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we're standing here on the deck now, and I see what you mean about these doors. These are proper doors, right?
Correct.
So walk us through what we've got here and how this kind of functions.
Well, okay, so if the ramp, if the railing wasn't on the ramp right now, then you would have the ramp down and you could run your toys up in here onto the floor, tie them down. When you get to where you're going, you unload your toys, and then you've got a regular trailer. So you're going to have your beds that are going to come down from the ceiling. You're going to have your dinette that comes down from the ceiling. Again, you can suspend the ramp and put up the railing, and so you've got your little outdoor patio bar, whatever you want to do out here. And then you've also got your travel trailer inside. And again, most of the features on the inside are going to be just like a Mountain Series. So you're still going to get your solid surface countertops and your nice cabinetry and that kind of thing.
And how long is this unit end to end here?
So this particular unit is their 21. It's their shortest.
Wow.
So the 21 isn't going to have a made down front bed. It's going to have just the loft bed and then the front bathroom. Then you go into a 22. They're bringing out a new 24 model here pretty soon, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm excited for that one. And then a 27 and a 29. Being so close to the factory, we get all the people that do the hauling. So they're the people that haul to all the different dealerships, California, Texas, wherever. And they will tell you that Outdoors RV trailers, toy haulers, everything, tow better than any other trailer. Because of the way their frames are weighted. So these guys that are hauling professionally, they don't use equalizing hitches. So they're just on a ball and they're going for it. And they will all tell you that they tow better than any other trailer.
We've heard the same thing as well. And in our 21 RBS, towing with a half ton, it's kind of at the upper limit. And we're within all the specs, but we are towards the upper end of what we can tow with our truck. And people say like, oh, but you must get like a lot of sway and things. I'm like, I mean, sometimes I do have to use like my whole hand, not just one finger on the like it really does tow that smoothly that at times you almost forget the trailer's there, even with a half ton like we've got. There's a couple of things that immediately jump out to me. One is that the rubberized floor reaches all the way back in here, and that must be like, what, 10 feet or so coming into here. But there's no dividing wall on this one.
Correct.
Talk to me about that.
Well, so anytime you have a toy hauler with a dividing wall, you're going to have 12 feet on top of whatever trailer you have. Outdoors RV is not trying to get you into the longest toy hauler with the most cargo space. They're trying to get you to do exactly what you guys are doing. They want you to be in the off-grid, the map places.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to do that when you have a trailer that's 40 feet long.
Yeah.
So when they can keep it a little shorter and go with the 21, the 22, the 24,
Exactly.
and they do make the longer models, but nothing's going to have that wall, because a lot of people nowadays too, they want the big 4-seater side-by-sides.
Yeah.
So it's just, it ends up being way too long of a trailer when you
And
put
this
it
is
in
a
the wall.
really good space that you
It's
could
great.
load a lot of toys into.
Yes. We've had people that have had them at a lake or wherever, and their deck is suspended over the lake, and they're out there fishing off the back deck. And I mean, it's pretty cool. It gives you some versatility.
It's a pretty cool trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I think if this had been out when we'd been looking, we'd have been really seriously looking at these, because this amount of space that you could do some great stuff with. And it's not just toys that you can put in here.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got a friend who has a toy hauler, and they actually use theirs as an office. They've got a desk and some chairs and things in here, because it's just a really good functional space.
Toy haulers in general, I mean, we've had people that do dog shows. We've had people that do hunting dogs and have their kennels, kayaks.
Yep.
The list goes on and on. Anything you really want to take with you. I've had women do their sewing cabinets. So,
Nice.
I mean, there's a lot of options that you can do in the
That's
rear
pretty cool.
area of this trailer. So they've tried to utilize all of the space. So even in the floor, there was a space that was open. They turned it into an in-floor toolbox. Right here, for the sportsman, you can do fishing poles or even a gun cabinet. Also, let's say you're using this as a base camp and you're going to backpack into the wilderness, but you're going to go from here. You can store all your backpacks and your gear in there. But yeah, they've thought of some extra little things that maybe a lot of toy haulers haven't. In the models that have the front bed, right next to the bed, you're going to have a little safe that you can put in a pistol or something like that. A lot of toy haulers are built more for the California climate.
Yeah.
So they don't have the insulation in the floor. They're built more for sand dunes. So this is built for elk hunting in the, second season elk in November. So, it's built for the cold weather, which also in turn is good for hot weather. As we all know, the insulation, the dual pane windows, but the heavy duty axles, all of that's going to get you where you need to go in a better quality unit than pretty much any other toy hauler on the market.
That's awesome. So we've talked about the differences between the Creekside, the Timber Ridge, and the Blackstone class, but it doesn't end there, does it? Because in addition to that, we also have the kind of the model number, like 21 RBS on ours.
Correct.
So what do those numbers mean? How do I translate or understand those?
Well, the numbers are going to roughly resemble the floor length of the trailer. So you still always want to look at the overall length, preferably in the brochure. It's going to give you the tip-to-tip length, because you might have one model that's called a 25 and another model that's called a 25, and they'll be up to 2 or 3 feet different overall.
Gotcha.
So you can never go by that actual number, but it's going to be really close to the floor length. The number will be.
Which makes sense. I think ours is a 21 RBS, and I think ours is up there, so it's about 20 feet inside.
Right.
But ours is 24 foot 10, if you actually measure from the hitch to the bumper.
Exactly. So if a person is trying to fit a trailer in a specific space and they only have 25 feet to work with, they need to make sure that they're looking at a smaller unit and looking at that overall length. Then the letters here, that just stands for whatever the floor plan is. So like an RKS is going to be a rear kitchen with a slide out.
Yep.
An RDS is going to be a rear dinette with a slide out. So that's kind of how you can remember which model you were looking at.
And I think I remember the day that we figured this out, because we look at these thinking like, how on earth are people memorizing these random numbers and letter combinations? Because we'd already worked out that the numbers don't map exactly to the length of the unit.
Right.
And I remember we worked out the S meant it had a slide.
Right.
Because we found some that only had like 2 letters, like the
RD,
the RD,
FQ.
the 21 RD, the 20 FQ. And we're like, they don't have slides. The S must mean slide.
Right.
And then we realized that R is usually rear, F is usually front.
Right.
And then the other letter kind of describes a living space or a kitchen or a dinette or whatever. So the other thing that really confuses me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one out there, is some of these model numbers, the floor plans look the same.
Right.
But they have different kind of designations, like the 21 RBS and the 21 FQS.
Correct.
They look the same?
So they really are almost the exact same floor plan. One is a rear bath with a front queen. The other one's a front queen with a rear bath. It's the same thing, but what they're trying to do there is to differentiate between the Creekside and the Timber Ridge. Because if we called them both 21 FQSs, you would think that they were identical.
Same
Where the
trailer.
Timber Ridge is going to have the 8-inch I-beam chassis. It's going to have the fiberglass front cap. The slide out is actually deeper.
Yep.
It's a little bit heavier, that kind of thing. So they're just giving you those different variations, even though they are almost identical floor plans, so that you can differentiate between the FQS being the Timber Ridge and
Yep.
the RBS being the Creekside. Yeah.
What are some of the things that people really look for when they come in? What are kind of the features they're after?
If I had to say that people come in looking specifically for any one thing, I mean, obviously we sell the whole gamut from
Sure.
the big 34 footers all the way down to the 20 footers. But most people, we sell more in that 30 foot and under range. We get a lot of people that come in specifically looking for something they can boondock
Yep.
and take into the national parks. So they're trying to stay under that 30 foot mark. So we do a lot of the 24 RLS and the 24 RKS.
Gotcha.
That's probably our two #1 sellers because of that reason, because of the length. But then, of course, you're going to sell the bigger ones as well to people who are going,
Absolutely.
and a lot of people still boondock. I
Yep.
mean, they'll take them anywhere, even with the bigger models.
So, Corrin, thank you so much for walking us through all of the range of outdoors RV trailers today. I know there's a lot going on here across the different classes and the Mountain series, the Titanium series, but I really feel that we've got a good handle on all that now. So thank you so much for
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
So if people would like to contact you guys about finding out more about these, how would they do so?
Well, we have a Facebook page, so it's just Thompson RV on Facebook. We have a YouTube channel, and then also our website, which is thompsonrv.com.
Perfect. And if you're new to our channel, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Matt, and behind the camera is Diana, and we're on a quest to visit all 419 national park units across the US in our outdoors RV. So if you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us on our journey as we travel around the US.